This episode of Film Learnin is brought to you by Alita Battle Angel. Bring home the battle on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, DVD and digital.
That's so great!
Hey guys, welcome to Film Learnin, the show dedicated to learning you some filmmaking and learning good. And welcome to this special Film Learnin event, gang. This is something I've been dying to share with you ever since it happened. And it's finally here. If you've been following me on my social media, you'll have seen that to celebrate the digital and Blu-ray release, Fox Home Entertainment was kind enough to send me over to Wellington in New Zealand on a whirlwind trip to see behind the scenes on the amazing visuals of Alita Battle Angel from James Cameron and director Robert Rodriguez. This was an amazing experience, gang, and I'm so glad I get to share it with you over the course of this week, so make sure that you've not only subscribed, that you hit that bell icon so you don't miss a single one of these videos. So, as always with any of these trips, I say to myself, I'm gonna vlog the whole thing from beginning to end, and it never happens.
Boo! You stink!
Luckily, Fox was nice enough to provide a camera crew so I didn't have to worry and I could just enjoy the experience. So we arrived in Wellington and I went straight to the hotel room where there was this little welcome bag for me from Weta Digital. So naturally I shot an unboxing video and I'll post it up on the channel pretty soon. So our first stop was to Park Road Post. This is the post-production facility that has hosted the post-production on some massive films including the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, King Kong, District 9, Mortal Engines, and a whole bunch more. I was actually this close to the Oscar that King Kong took home for sound mixing, which is supremely cool. I just wish that with the NDAs that I had to sign that I could have taken a picture, but that's the nature of the business. Now it was there I got to see a presentation from Nick Epstein, the lead visual effects supervisor on Alita Battle Angel. Now, Nick has been on some pretty amazing films over the years, such as the Harry Potter series, Avatar, The Hobbit, Pete's Dragon, Valerian, and a bunch more. You can check out his IMDb down here. He took us through the exhaustive process of developing Alita from concept to completion, and I gotta say, for most of the presentation, my mouth was like, and my butt was numb as well from being on the edge of my seat. I was watching this like a kid in a candy store. Like I had the Alita eyes just going, wow. In fact, let's cut to my initial thoughts that I shot in the hotel room that night. So they actually sat us in their viewing theatre. I think that's where they actually show the final cut of their movies, or maybe the dailies, I don't know. It was just this really sweet decked out theatre. It looked like sort of an old timey theatre. It had all the stars sparkling up on the roof. It was just really, really cool. So when we sat down, the visual effects supervisor, his name was Nick Epstein, came out and he actually went through the entire development process behind Alita and a whole bunch of background, which was amazing to see. Like there was sketches from Robert Rodriguez, storyboards, and a whole bunch of stuff with James Cameron, and they actually went through in real depth how they did the motion capture and the facial capture and how that paired to the actual model of Alita itself. It was really in depth and really detailed, and it blew my mind. They showed how they did the hair systems, the cloth, the skin. Like they went into a ridiculous amount of depth how they made this skin photoreal, and like it seriously, it blew my mind because I was just like, I know absolutely nothing. The way that he described the microgeometry of the skin, and that's basically how the skin stretches and moves when your face moves, and just the level of detail that got into this model. They were actually saying that one of the close-ups where it goes right into Alita's eye, that entire eye was built in Houdini and it actually had over 8 million polygons. And to put that into perspective, they said Gollum from Lord of the Rings had about 106,000 polygons. So that's a lot of polygons. And they also talked about how they simulated fluid, because in one scene Alita goes underwater and they needed real life reference for that, so they actually found a deep sea diver that could hold her breath for a significant amount of time. They said 5 minutes. This woman could hold her breath for 5 minutes. So they got reference about how the cloth would move underwater, And seeing that reference and then seeing the final shot and the development of that shot in this presentation, it was incredible to see. So yeah, I was pretty amazed at the sheer volume of work that went into the character and the world, and that really does show on screen. I mean, this is a gorgeous film, and this is easily the best character animation I have ever seen. Now, on top of that awesome presentation, we actually got to go out to dinner with Nick and lead animator Mike Cousins. Now, for me, this was so cool, as we just got to chill out and have a relaxed conversation about visual effects and dimension about what I do, and well, that was just awesome, guys, seriously. I don't get to have those kind of conversations in my little bubble here, so to actually have an animated conversation about visual effects with folks that have worked on some of the biggest movies in the last 10 years, I was reserved, but my head was like, exactly. Now the next day we headed off to Weta Digital, and to my absolute delight, the place was littered with Peter Jackson's collection of old movie posters, particularly the King Kong movies, and also to my surprise, and I did tweet about this, the break room actually had a Nintendo 64 with 4 controllers and a Mario Kart cartridge ready to go. And man, I was so tempted to fire that up, and they did have a bag full of games, and I will fully admit that I went through them just to see if they had any of the good stuff. But alas, there was actually much cooler stuff to do. I ended up getting mic'd up and I got to enter the performance capture stage. Now, please excuse my potato-like physique in this footage.
Lord have mercy, I wish I weren't so fat.
Yeah. So it was here that Mike and Nick took me through the process of filming in a virtual environment. It's very cool to note that I'm standing on the same stage they shot parts of Umbrella Academy, Mortal Engines, Alita Battle Angel of course, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. This motion capture stage that I'm on played a significant role in films like the Hobbit trilogy and the Planet of the Apes films, which is mind-blowing. I got to have a play and they explained how all of it works. Now I'll fully admit that I was pretty awestruck by all of what was going on around me, so you'll notice that I barely talk in this video, as I was pretty nervous and I was having a lot of information thrown at me, so it was all pretty overwhelming. You know, when someone hands you a virtual camera rig that was used on massive productions that you've sat on your butt in a theater and watched, and they say, here, have a go at shooting this. You're just like, aha! Now I gotta admit that the rig itself did take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, it's really sweet that you can just be in an empty room, you hold up the screen and you can see an entire digital set. And it's also just previs, so it was a little bit hard to hit the marks because the previs had no sound. And it also does take a bit of getting used to because I only had 10 minutes with it. But honestly guys, I could have spent all day there. It was just so much fun and the guys were very cool and very patient with my goofy ass. So while the video rolls, I might cut in with some comments just to fill the void of me not actually speaking.
Hi Grant.
How's it going?
Good. I'm Mike Cousins, I'm the head of animation. Welcome to the performance capture stage.
Nick Epstein, visual effects supervisor.
So, there's a big empty space right now. Like you saw in Nick's presentation last night on set in Austin, there were a lot of really big practical sets. And in those sets, a lot of performance capture happens for Rosa and the other actors. The other thing that we can do is, if we've got a big virtual set, we can come to a space like this and we can practically build a representation of that virtual set so that actors have somewhere to perform in. In this case, today we're going to focus on virtual cinematography. So we don't have a big build, but we have some performance in the can. So let's take a look at the performance capture setup we've got over here. So typically, as a performer, you would be wearing a nice slender suit like this with all the tracking marks on it. We'd have a volume with, I think there's 84 cameras in this space up on the ceiling, all these guys. And they're shooting infrared light that bounces off the markers and then back up into the cameras in order to triangulate the position of these dots. Those dots then drive a joint chain inside a digital model, and that's where you get your puppeteering if you're wearing one of these suits. The other thing that Rosa would be wearing on set would be a face cam like this. This is a little tiny face cam, and I don't even think I can get my head in it. But see, yeah. So it really makes your face look awesome. But it gives us a really good look at what the face is doing, and with the marks that would be painted on every day.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, there would be a setup, and you would get those marks painted on, and then you can see what muscles are moving around. And with those things together, you're getting a cohesive performance all in one take. So Rosa can be on set performing with other live action actors, and we're getting her performance in the can as we go. Now, today we have Rosa playing Alita, Jackie Earl Haley playing Grishka. If we can roll the select that we've done, James. So this is a little scene where Grishka enters. Alita looks at him, runs at him. He tries a big swing, and she jumps over him and up onto that ledge up there. So that's all in the can. Now, performance capture is like a critical part of the filmmaking process, but the camera work that goes in to cover this is just as important. Finding angles in order to tell status of the different characters, the reveals of different pieces of information at certain points is all part of that storytelling process. So the neat thing about performance capture is that once we've got it, Robert can put cameras on it the same day, 2 weeks later, 2 months later, and as he comes up with ideas, he can go, oh, let's play that again, and I'm going to cover that differently. Part of that process is scouting. So he'll come in, and with a scene like this, he'll find a bunch of angles that he likes and slowly build up a bunch of different coverage that we'll go back into the edit. So Nick's going to show you the V-cam here.
The camera
so this
here.
is our little virtual camera.
So best thing is if you just take hold of that. There's a few controls to know about here. These two buttons will pop you between different lenses. So if you want to go on like a long sort of Jason Bourne shaky cam style, if that's your thing, or you can go out a bit wider, more of a natural, let's call it a John Wick type feeling. It's all down to you. That's what this process is for. It's about exploring how you want to cover this action. So we're presenting it here, with no bias, and it's up to you to, you can move around the space, find some angles that you think is going to work. If you think about the story that you want to tell, even over this sort of 5-6 seconds of action that we're dealing with here, what do you want to portray? What's the point of this being in the film, and how do you want to use the camera to help convey that? I can give you some pointers as well, but I think that the best thing is if you just start exploring. There's a few other controls here. This will control your elevation here, up and down. This will also strafe you left and right. Some people like to use controls. Other people just want to move around the space. So it's I think you should probably just start exploring. Check it out. And typically what we would do is during the scouting process, the director would call out, okay, I'm definitely going to want an angle from here. We'd record that. I'm going to want an angle from, let's say, a bird's eye view to establish the scene, and the operator would basically program those positions in. So the next day on the set or later on or whenever the actual camera is captured, you can just pop to those points.
Okay, that's awesome.
We
So
can
you're
do
a little bit in the rocks here,
yep.
so I'm just going to move you out. You can use the magic of...
Typically, we'd also have a sort of visual representation of the space as well. So you'd actually have a bit of a set build as well. So you've got an idea of the size of things.
So you'd actually sort of halfway block out the scenes.
That's
so
it,
where
yeah.
sort of obstructions
Exactly.
are.
And we can control how sensitive the camera is. So if you wanted to cover a really long distance, we can make the set very small. So you're literally just moving your arm like that, and the camera will sort of like do more of a big sweeping move. Okay. Or you can have it a lot more sort of realistic, which is how we've got it set up now. So this is I think 1-to-1. So as you're taking a step in the space, it's representative to really taking that step. So if you think about like maybe this is just one beat we want to try capturing here, where Alita vaults over Grishka, and you capture her as she ends up on the platform. So you might want to just step back a little bit, or you can try going on a wider lens as well and see how that feels. Yeah, and you can add some camera movement to it as well. So as she comes in, you might want to pick her up and then follow her up. So you're just doing a bit of a tilt.
She's gonna start going. There you go. Yeah. No, that's the idea though. Yeah. So try that again.
We
Let's
can
go
start
back
refining that.
So let's try that again. That looked interesting. So come back here, and then when she goes, try that pan, that whip pan. Go in a sec. There she goes. Cool. So yeah. Very good. So you barely need to step forward because you're just ending up a little close to both of those characters. So just try, spinning kind of on the spot. Cool. Good.
Nice.
So, and then try one more. Sorry, you were gonna say?
No, I was going to say this is actually looking pretty good. Maybe we should go for a take.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Try doing one more where you just get a little bit of that action of him swinging at her. See if which is a little bit down to your right as you pan around. So here you go. There you go, and up. Good.
Nice.
That's it. That's cool. And then a little push in. Nice.
Yeah. So should we go for a take on that?
And action. All right, here we go, Grant. Here she comes, and now. And cut. So it's tricky in here because we're so close to her. It's hard to kind of get her. She flashes by camera. Yep. It's sort of hard to keep her in frame. But kind of works, like like a little in a whip pan way, if we can kind of get that camera landed on the action as Grushka smashes down. So maybe what we need is you find your mark here. We'll slide it forward to where you need to be when you spin around. So you kind of have a very kind of clear idea of I'm my A, B, and then you kind of got the little end push-in working quite nicely. So let's try that. Okay. Can we reset and we'll just find our second mark on this shot.
So from watching my first take, Mike had a good idea of how I wanted to frame this shot. So what he did was throw a couple of markers down so I had both a start point and an end point so I could just pivot around and frame my shot the way I wanted it without having to worry about me pushing in too far or not landing the mark properly. That was extremely handy, and another thing he actually did was, and that'll come up soon, is he actually slowed down the frame rate of the footage to I think either half or quarter speed, which made it much easier for me to shoot the shot that I wanted to get because I was able to follow Alita along without losing her because she was moving too fast.
Set and action. It's just gonna happen a little slower, Grant. Boom. Beautiful. And cut. That's great. That's it.
Does that feel easier for you, half speed?
Yeah, it does actually feel a lot easier. That's incredible.
Cool. Let's have a look at that.
I'm so not used to handheld.
No, it's
usually
quite...
one-man crew. I've got a tripod and I'm usually working with a puppet. So.
You can see how similar this is to capturing live action as well with your marks and everything. This is exactly the sort of process that we run through on a live action
have a look at your select here. It's a nice frame shot of her. Boom. That's great.
Okay, so everyone heard that. He said it was great. Peak achieved, guys. I can retire now as undefeated champion. The worst part is I do shoot another take, and it is substantially worse than this one. Anyway.
Right spot.
When she runs in, she runs the wrong side of camera.
It's really nice at the end having Grushka in the corner there, looking up at Alita, and you see
it's a beautiful
that sort of balance in the balance of power has shifted. You know, Alita's now up here. Grushka's looking a lot less imposing at the end there.
So let's do one more and try to get that pivot out to the right. And I think you've got a really nice shot. So we'll just do reset. We're gonna go half speed when you're ready. So same idea, but you just pivoting out that way. Yeah, exactly. Set and action.
Once again, guys, you can see that I'm completely silent with a dumb look on my face, because all I can think of is this is the coolest thing ever. I really want to nail this shot, but I can see someone over there signaling that I've only got a couple of minutes left. The only thing I can seem to do is just say nothing with a blank expression on my face.
It's very cool, but I feel like it is going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It totally does. But the other thing is, like, it's picking up all your body little motions, and that's something that sort of happens later. We will clean it up later.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of cameras at this stage are sketches of ideas, and you know, we're really trying to focus. You know, Robert will be trying to focus on the storytelling and the angles, and again, status and reveals and things like that. Once that's nutted out, I mean, the camera work can be a still image or a really shaky version of it. You're trying to, the director will be trying to convey ideas. So we can clean all that up later. So let's see what we got. That's a really nice little bit as she goes up. Grishka there. And I like how we're landing and keeping him in shot. Yeah, we've lost him a bit, or lost her a little bit on the spin, but that's okay.
You could say, you know, as the director of this piece, you could say, hey, I want to follow Alita through that, so an animator could then help you with that.
Okay.
Typically, we could also layer this up, so you could get one move, and then we can put another camera move on top of it. Some of these camera moves can get really, really complex, so it's really difficult to, some people want to get it all in one, but it's actually helpful to think of it in terms of layers.
So basically, the amount of coverage you can get is limitless in this sort of shot.
It is, yeah. And again, it's just open to new ideas at any point, because I can load this up or any take from the film and recover it, you know, get a nice close-up on a hand, you know, reveal Grishka in a different way. So it does become limitless.
It's crazy.
So my favorite bit of this is the end as she goes up, because we're in there nice and close, and you really feel that, you know, like feel her pushing up off him. So it's a nice little bit. Do we have time to just try one more, or are we out of time? One more?
Cool.
Okay, so let's go. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna try to get this pivot working. So you find your mark, Grant, and I'm gonna suggest that we just go to the head of the shot. Okay, so, and just roll her forward as she's passing us, because I think we're just a little too close to her, which is our problem here. Yeah, she's sort of running into us. So what I'd say is, let's just shift you a little bit over here, and then we're gonna get her, keep going, rolling forward. I know this is gonna be, at least you kind of got a chance of, even if, again, play that back. Yeah, because I think we were kind of stacked in her before. And so this back into there and just back to our ones. Yeah, so let's try that. And so you're gonna go there, and you can even kind of like suck it back a little bit, let her pivot, and then you're gonna end up, boom, mark, boom. Yeah. Yep. That's it, cool. When you're ready. Set and action. Nice. And cut. Beautiful.
Very cool.
Let's play that back.
Think about it, if you don't capture cameras this way, you never get any of that sort of human drift and sort of natural feeling of the camera in a space.
That's great. Beautiful work.
Well, thank you very much.
Grant.
I could do this all day.
So gang, that was the first of several videos I have coming about my trip to Weta Digital. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep an eye out for more. I have another one where I sit down and have a chat with lead animator Mike Cousins about how Alita was made, and I also get to have a play with texturing the Grishka model in Nuke with Jed Vojtovich, the head of look development. So be sure and keep an eye out for that. I also want to thank Lauren at Fox and Alita Battle Angel for sending me out there to have this awesome experience. Now guys, you can pick up Alita Battle Angel on digital, Blu-ray and 4K today, and it is packed with a whole bunch of special features. That I know you'll love, because I did. But for now guys, that's all I got for you. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more from my trip, please smash that like button. I really do appreciate it and it does help out. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button below and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss a single film learning episode. I've got 2 other episodes right over here, including the Star-Lord helmet effect, so check that out. All my social media crap is just here along with the Patreon if you want to support us, or you can support us directly on YouTube by clicking that join button below. But until I see you again guys, keep learning.